Welcome to Storyflix. In this video, we will explain 1 in 800,000. This movie tells the story of Rino Sakuragi, a high school girl who is good friends with Ren Kiritani, a popular student who attends the same high school. One day, Ren reveals to Rino that he likes her. On the other hand, Rino was diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a nervous system disease that weakens muscles and impacts physical function. How will their love story continue? Will Ren stay by the side of his couple, who has a rare disease? Let's find out in 1 in 100,000. 1 in 800,000 tells a story of a young man named Ren Kiritani who is following kendo training. Apart from having outstanding abilities in sports, Ren is very good at school. He has a friend named Rino Sakuragi, who is the manager of the kendo club. Rino is a beautiful and kind-hearted girl who always supports and encourages Ren. Rino loves Ren because she seems very attentive to him, including when she is about to give him a towel after he practices kendo. Not only that, but Rino looks a little annoyed and jealous seeing Ren, who is always surrounded by his fans. Sometimes, Rino even feels inferior and thinks that she is not good enough and worthy when coupled with Ren, who is very handsome and popular at school. Rino's best friend, a girl named Chihiro Tachibana, tries to encourage Rino not to be humble and tease her a little to confess her feelings more so that Ren can realize that she likes him. Not long after, Ren came and sat opposite Rino, which made her nervous and awkward, so she fell down and was noticed by many people, which made her even more nervous. Ren then goes to Rino to ask if she is hurt. After that, Rino rushed to a quiet place to write her feelings down and events in her diary. And she was reminded of her middle school days. When Rino was bullied because of a scar on her leg, Ren was there to defend her from bullies. After school, Chihiro prefers to go home with her boyfriend, Sho Hinas, and purposely lets Rino and Ren go home alone. But the two of them behaved awkwardly with each other until Ren took the initiative to protect Rino when they were crammed in the train, and without realizing it, Rino's diary fell. The next day, Rino looks cheerful because Ren was very caring for her and protected her yesterday. But Rino's cheerfulness immediately disappeared when Ren seemed indifferent and even ignored her a little when they were at school. In the classroom, Ren sent a message to Rino on a slip of paper asking her to meet him somewhere. Ren then returns Rino's diary that he found. Rino looked panicked when she found out that her diary was with Ren. But Ren made sure that he didn't read the diary. At one point, Ren met Rino, who was sitting alone, where he then confessed his love for her and asked her to be his girlfriend. Hearing that, Rino seemed so happy because it turned out that Ren had the same feelings towards her. Since then, Ren and Rino are officially dating, and they both look so happy. Rino then introduces Ren to her grandfather, the only family she has. When Rino was having dinner with Ren and her grandfather, suddenly Rino felt her legs limp and fell down. Rino was immediately rushed to the hospital because she was in a lot of pain. However, after several checkups, the doctor could not confirm Rino's illness and said she was fine. Rino looks happy to know that she is fine. But Ren and her grandfather were still worried. Rino tries to prove to Ren that she is fine at school so that he doesn't have to worry about her. Ren then hugged Rino, but suddenly she fell back down and told him that one of her legs couldn't be moved. As her leg condition worsened, Rino finally experienced a complete medical checkup, and the doctor finally could confirm her illness. Rino was diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a nervous system disease that weakens muscles and impacts physical function, which can cause total paralysis throughout her body. Rino and her grandfather were very surprised when they found out that she had a rare disease for which no cure had been found. Even so, Rino tried to encourage her grandfather by staying cheerful and asking him not to worry too much about her. However, Rino secretly finds out for herself about her illness and soon realizes that she might not live much longer. Therefore, Rino wrote down the things she wanted to do with Ren while she could still enjoy her life before her body was completely paralyzed. Rino wrote it down on the way home while boarding the train. When she finally arrived at the destination station, suddenly she couldn't move her legs. Elsewhere, Ren gets a message from Rino's grandfather that Rino hasn't come home yet. Feeling worried for his girlfriend, Ren then asks Chihiro and Sho for help to find Rino. Ren finally meets Rino at a station where she looks so sad when she tells him what happened to her. Knowing that her life might not be any longer, Rino then gave Ren the freedom if he wanted to leave her because he would feel ashamed if he was dating a lame girl like her. However, Ren insists that he will always be by Rino's side and will always love and accept her as she is, regardless of her condition, because he really loves her. Hearing Ren's words, Rino was both happy and relieved because it turned out that he loved her so much. Ren then asked when Rino was ready to do the things she wanted, which were written on the list, because he wanted to grant it and make her happy. The first thing Rino and Ren wanted to do was run together. Although Rino seemed to be having a hard time because of her condition, and Ren had to struggle to support her, the two of them were finally able to reach the finish line accompanied by the support and applause of their friends and teachers, who were touched by the hard work of the two of them to finish the race. After that, Rino and her grandfather went to the hospital to recheck her health condition, where the doctor informed her that her illness might start to spread to other parts of the body in the near future. Hearing this, Rino was shocked and devastated. She always looked gloomy and didn't come to school for several days. Ren, who was very worried about his girlfriend, then went to Rino's house to check on her condition. Seeing Ren's arrival, Rino, with all her power, rushed over to him, and under the rain, she burst into tears in his arms. Rino told Ren everything, and he then suggested that she do a re-checkup at the hospital. Ren then strengthened his girlfriend by hugging her tightly, while saying that he would always be by her side, no matter what, and asked her to start realizing what she wanted to do with him. Rino then told Chihiro and Shu about her illness, which made them both very shocked. Without Rino's knowing, Ren expressed his sadness by shouting and crying profusely in the kendo practice hall when everyone had left school. Since then, Ren and his two friends have tried to make Rino happy by inviting her to do fun things like bowling, celebrating Chihiro's birthday with great joy, and so on. Rino said one wish to Ren, but he couldn't grant it, and instead, he promised to take her somewhere. Because of Ren's refusal, Rino's attitude began to change, and she then turned away from him. One day, Rino had an incident in the school toilet where she was found sitting on the toilet floor crying with a wet skirt. Chihiro then brought Rino home, but didn't tell Ren about the incident and only answered curtly when Ren asked about Rino. Not only Chihiro, Rino's grandfather, behaved like that as well. After Ren forced them to say the reason, they told him that it was Rino's request, that she wanted to stay away from him because if she persisted in being by his side, she would get hurt even more. Ren didn't just give up. With Chihiro's help, Ren managed to persuade Rino and took her to the house of one of the patients with ALS, where Ren and Rino became moved and motivated after talking with the patient's wife, who was so patient and painstaking in caring for her husband who was completely paralyzed due to the disease. After that, Rino gets excited again and decides to take a vacation to Tokyo with Ren, where they visit many places, try various delicious foods, and do a lot of fun things. After that, Ren carried Rino to the snowy mountain area, where they enjoyed a very beautiful view of the star-studded night sky. Ren and Rino then lay on the snowy ground while enjoying the view of the night sky. They then tell each other, and Ren continues to encourage Rino not to give in to her illness because he will always be by her side to accompany and support her. After that, Rino could no longer move her legs and had to sit in a wheelchair. After returning to school, Ren accompanies Rino, who dares to tell all her classmates to explain her illness and asks for their full support so that she can stay in school until she graduates. At first, Rino's classmates didn't seem to understand her rare disease. But after Rino pleaded, so did Ren, and was followed by Chihiro and Shu. They finally began to understand and were willing to grant Rino's request. Rino seemed touched because all of her friends were willing to support her and encourage her not to give in to her illness. Long story short, season after season passed, and finally, it was graduation day for Rino and her friends. Rino is now paralyzed in most of her limbs. Even she can no longer speak and move her hands. Ren then takes Rino to school, where all her classmates and their homeroom teacher have been waiting for Rino's arrival to celebrate her graduation because she never gave up on her illness and managed to graduate with her classmates. Even though Rino couldn't speak or respond to all the kindness that Ren and everyone else had done, from the look on her face, it was clear that she was feeling very happy and determined not to give in to her illness. The moral that can be learned from this movie is never to give up on what has been destined for us and to believe in true love and friendship that is always by our side to accompany, support, and help us face everything.